Hello and welcome. I'm so excited. We have Maria Russo with us today. And Maria's going to tell us about the new things happening at minedition and a little bit about minedition as well. So welcome, Maria.
Hi, Ellen. Thanks for having me.
Well, our pleasure. So tell us about minedition and a little bit about its history because
Well, I'll keep it brief. minedition has been around for a decade now, started by Michael Neugebauer in Austria, and had always been a very international publisher, publishing in Austria, Switzerland, Germany, France, Japan, Korea, and into the US too, but on a smaller scale. Recently, minedition was bought by Astra Publishing House, which is part of Thinkingdom, which is a large, really prestigious Chinese publisher who's trying to expand their global, publishing programs. And so created minedition US, which is, that's where I come in. And, my role is to expand the minedition philosophy of books that bridge cultures, that unite children around the world, stories that help them become global citizens, always with really first-rate art. And that's really always been Michael's calling card. The art and the production, the illustration has to be top-notch, because that's really where we see picture books having their power, right? The power of beautiful art to move children and to educate them and on this other level. So we're keeping that up, and we have our first list that I worked on coming this spring, which I'm excited about. This fall is stuff that Michael put in place that's still some real gems, and you can see the minedition traditions in some of these books that you and I have been talking about, that I'll share more.
that sounds amazing. And I think that people probably are familiar with Elizabeth Swerger and Robert Ingpen and these classics.
Right. Several Hans Christian Andersen Award winners have been minedition authors. Elizabeth Swerger, of course, her entire career with minedition. Robert Ingpen. Květa Pakowska is another really important artist who has done some real mind-bogglingly amazing books with minedition. Just this spring, there will be Junya Watanabe, the Japanese designer, is actually putting out a line of clothing with Květa Pakowska prints on the jackets and the vests. It's incredible. So it's really, this is really, really high quality international art, but always with an eye toward the children and the storytelling and the message of building bridges across cultures.
Right, and the board books that are coming are...
And the board books, that's my...
Tell us about those.
That's my, that's probably my secret passion, you may know, is good board books. And I've always thought one of the reasons I was so excited to come work for minedition is because their board books are really the best. So one of Michael's many talents is this paper engineering, this book designing with board books. So for the toddlers and the pre-K children, those manipulatives, that interactive book is so important. And he really takes them, we take that audience seriously. So the books will always have a little something extra. We'll try to have it, it's a book about sharing, but it's also a book about numbers, and they're really sturdy. The production values are really high. So I just absolutely love these board books. I'm really excited to share some new ones from some of our really, well-known board book creators, and hoping to make them more well-known in the US.
Great. That's wonderful. And if you're curious about seeing these books, then please go to our Pinterest page, and we'll have a special section there just for board books. So you'll want to go and take a look there after you watch the rest of this interview. So that is great. Now, what is big this fall from minedition that you think that preschool teachers...
Well, so far, the reviews are just coming in. The first star we have is for a really wonderful picture book called While You're Away, which is, it's a mindfulness book, and it's also a book about paying attention to nature. And so it's two Greek creators whose names I'm going to bungle, so I won't say, but it's While You're Away, and each spread it's a beautiful poem, and each spread invites the child to look at a different part of nature and think about what happens when there's no people there, when you're away. So what happens to with the lily pads, what happens in the pond, what happens at the waterfall. And so it's just a beautiful book that, you know, as SLJ said, really belongs in any classroom, when you're talking about respecting the environment and respecting the human natural balance. So that one so far has been great. Another really exciting book with an environmental theme, but also a sort of grandparent-grandchild story that's really touching is called One Boy's Choice by Sueli Menzies, and it's illustrated by this incredible German painter named Annika Siems. And it takes place in the Amazon, and Sueli is from the Amazon. It's an indigenous boy and his grandfather going for a fishing trip, his very first time getting to go catch the big fish with his grandpa. But as they get there, the grandpa, and as he catches his big fish, the grandpa presents him with the choice he has to make. Well, would you choose to return this fish to its home where it really belongs? Because, you know, that's what we do with this kind of fish. And the boy on his own has to decide to bring the fish back. And so it's very moving. And it's also just a great glimpse of, you know, authentic life in culture in the Amazon. So that's another one that's getting great reviews.
Yeah, and so many different levels there. That's amazing.
Many different levels. And that's always what I love about our books and what I'm trying to bring to it is that, you know, children need some layers to keep them really engaged in a story and to elevate the story to the realm of, you know, art and literature, even though it's, you know, 800 words, you know, 32 pages. And so one really exciting thing that's happening is Yosuke Yonezu's new board book called Sharing. So he's someone who, Yonezu is a Japanese board book creator, a genius, I think, of engineering and clear concepts that he is able to convey with just this absolutely eye-catching, reassuring art. So Sharing is just, you know, each spread is a different situation. There's two of us, but only one banana. What do we do? And then you turn the page and that one banana is split into two, or, you know, a bunch of grapes. I want them. No, I want them. What do you do? And then, you know, they're in two portions, and, you know, showing basically, you know, how to share. And then the final spread is two kids. I want mommy. No, I want mommy. What can we do? And then we end with like a big hug of all three, you know. So there's just something about his art that everyone loves. It's so simple. So the lines are so bold, but so friendly. And then his concepts are just great. So he's got counting books. He's got a book called Moving Blocks that I just think every preschooler will, you know, it's basically making shapes with the blocks as you turn the pages and understanding how they fit together so beautifully. He's got a book called We Love Each Other. That's just a great example of, you know, how people coming together and animals coming together to express love. But of course, all the different shapes. And he's got a shape series, you know, circle, square, triangle. He's got a numbers series.
Much good stuff.
He's really great. So he sold millions of copies around the world, but we're just starting to develop him here. So I think Sharing, which is already getting the stars and being said like, oh, this is a board book everyone has to have. That's a book that I think can start this new momentum around him. So remember the name, Yonezu.
Yonezu, okay. We'll look for that on our Pinterest board. And we'll also have an art gallery on our NAEYC booth. So you'll get to see some of the spreads there. So please take a look at that. And Maria, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It's a
give
pleasure
us a little
being here.
heads up on cool things coming our way. Thank you very much.
More to come. My first real season will be this coming spring, where I've acquired the books myself. So super excited.
Okay, so even more cool
stuff
just around the corner. Thank you very much.